Hello everyone. I'm Jessie from Literary. I'm here with my dad.
Hi, I'm Jesse's dad.
Tomorrow is December. It's Dad-cember.
Okay.
I've got a sweater on for December. It says Carly Slaye Jepsen. Don't get it twisted. This is not ironic. I love her. But one of the things that we are going to be doing for the month of December is Dad is choosing my TBR. Do you want to say a little bit about your taste in books? What kind of books you're drawn to?
I have there's a couple of genres that I tend to read too much of. Fantasy used to be growing up. It used to be almost all science fiction. It's a little less. I read a lot less science fiction than I used to.
I imagine you, as a teenager, were only reading Tom Clancy and the Hardy Boys and the Three Investigators. That's what I think of you reading when you were...
Tom Clancy hadn't written anything when I was a teenager.
Well, I'm not a Tom Clancy expert.
I did read all of the Hardy Boys books. I own most of them.
Yeah, true.
I did read every Three Investigators book, and at one point I owned all of them. It's possible there are some new ones that have come out.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Are they crazy?
They're weird. The Three Investigators are like 19, you know?
Wow.
They're real
so
weird.
They're not driving around in the Rolls Royce that he conned them out of?
No, and like Pete only cares about girls, or maybe Bob only cares about girls, one of them only cares about girls. Jupe can't get any action.
Well, he's fat.
Yeah.
Baby fat, I believe.
There's always a fat one. If there's going to be a group of people solving a mystery, one of them had to be fat. And Nancy Drew, one of them had to be fat.
True.
Is one of the Hardy Boys fat?
No.
Oh, well, never mind. That was just a
However,
2 times rule.
Chet is.
Who is that?
There's Frank and Joe Hardy. There's Chet Morton, who is Kelly or Iona. One of the girlfriend's brothers.
Does he solve mysteries with them?
Yes.
Oh.
And then there's Biff, whose last name I can't remember.
It's a terrible name.
That's probably not a real name.
No. As a nickname, it's probably like...
But you also have to remember that these books were originally written in the early 1900s. I have an edition from 1919.
What?
Of the first one.
Those Hardy Boys.
I mean, this is back before they had cars.
Back before they had fingerprints. Probably not. They probably do fingerprints.
No, they've had fingerprints since the late 1800s.
Okay.
Don't ask me how I know that.
I wasn't gonna.
And then fantasy and mystery.
Yeah. When I asked you to do this video, or when I told you we were gonna do it, and didn't really ask if you wanted to, what was your like guiding process in choosing the books?
I wanted to pick books that I thought you had probably not read, not been exposed to, and books that I really liked.
Okay.
And I decided not to go with all books that were going to take you a month to read.
Yeah, well, I have a week off. I'm gonna be unemployed for a week, so I have a week off, and I have jury duty on Christmas Eve. So I feel like I'll get a lot of reading done that time.
You will probably get a fair amount of reading done in jury duty because, well, I've never had jury duty because I've never been called. Don't know why, but.
Do you feel like because you read so many mysteries, you would be a good juror?
Because I'm an engineer, I would probably not be selected. Most of the people that I work with who go to jury duty are just, no, we don't want anybody analytical. We want somebody who we can sway. While the prosecutors, I don't understand it all. I have an almost complete collection of Perry Mason. If you ever want to read those, and he goes into some of the rationale behind picking juries.
I was on a jury.
Yeah.
They thought, she's an idiot. Let's put her on.
She's easily swayed.
She's easily swayed. She's got a Carly Slaye Jepsen sweatshirt on. Put her on the jury. All right. Do you want to get started?
Sure.
What's the first book?
The first book is The Eye of the World. Cover's coming off, but
that's fine.
Do
you want me to tape it on?
No.
Or leave the cover?
No, you can leave the cover. The reason the cover's coming off is because that's the book that has in this house that I've probably read the most. There's some books that your mother has probably read 50, 60 times.
Oh, this is, okay, so this is
This
I'm
is-
on the back of a Wheel of Time book.
Yes, this is book 1 of the Wheel of Time.
Okay, so maybe everyone else on BookTube knows about the Wheel of Time, but I legitimately don't. I don't read a lot of genre fiction, so can you explain a little bit?
It's a classic good versus evil.
Okay.
Okay, the eye of the world is basically a place where all of the, not all of the, there's a large concentration of energy there, separated into the male half and the female half.
Humans?
Not necessarily humans,
Okay.
although I think all of them are.
Okay.
But there are non-humans. You don't spend a lot of time in the mind of the non-humans to know whether or not they use that kind of magic power. They do have direct access to the great Lord of Evil, and they can draw power from him. But basically, a long time ago, spoiler alert, a long time ago,
Wait, is this a spoiler that's a long time ago?
no,
Oh, okay.
the great Lord of Evil was banished and sealed into a bore in the world, sealed up with 7 seals. But this is a battle that's been going on since the beginning of time. The Wheel of Time is a concept that things happen in cycles.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening now may have happened before.
Oh, cool.
This is the 3rd age, the Age of Legends. So this is book 1. It's one of the shorter.
It's one of the shorter books.
It's one of the shorter editions.
Shorter editions.
Well, no, I'm sorry. It's one of the shorter volumes. There are, I think, 13. If you like it, we have all of them.
Is it done?
Yes, it is done.
Okay.
The author actually died before completing it.
Oh.
But he got, and the author's Robert Jordan, he got Brandon Sanderson. He knew he was dying. It was a form of cancer. So he got Brandon Sanderson to agree to finish it for him, and he had it all charted out. So all Brandon Sanderson had to do was
Flesh
probably
it out?
the flesh it out. I was going to say the easy part, but I don't think it's really that easy.
No.
Originally his goal was to finish in 12 volumes, and he researched how big the largest book that you could actually bind was. It was like 1,280 pages.
Mm-hmm.
He had too much to fit in that. Brandon Sanderson also writes prolifically large books. Anyway, this is the first one, and I'm actually going through the series again. When we first started reading, when your mom and I first started reading this, there were only like 3 books out. And then every like 2 to 3 years another book would come out. And be like, okay, and we'd start from the beginning and read through so that we'd be all caught up.
Yeah, I don't read series, and that is partially why. I mean, I read Harry Potter.
Right.
And I don't remember anything that happens after book 4. They go camping in book 7.
The book, yes. I was going to say the first part, but yeah. But this is probably my favorite of them anyway, and that's just because
Nice.
I've read it a lot.
All right. Stands the test of 25 rereads.
Probably yes.
800 pages is what I found because I was curious when he said one of the shorter ones, so I looked up and it's at 814.
Okay, and then we have Midnight at the Wall of Souls by Jack Chalker.
Never heard of this.
Okay.
It says science fiction on the side.
It is science fiction. He is from Frederick, I believe.
Frederick, Maryland.
Frederick, Maryland. So this is also a series, but as you can see, it's nowhere near as
Skinny.
thick. There are only, I think, 5 books in the original series, and then there's another. There's another series after this that basically just picks up where it left off, and then there's another 5 of them, I believe.
Are they on a horse? Or she's part horse?
She's a centaur.
She's a centaur.
Okay. Basic premise of this book is, spoiler alert again,
Okay.
you have the seed world for the universe. And it's broken down into a bunch of zones which are all hexagonally shaped.
Okay.
And each zone may be a completely different biosphere. So you may have desert in one, and then directly adjacent to it you may have a water world where there's different creatures that inhabit each one.
Okay.
And so this is the story of what happens when somebody finds themselves on that world and the adventures that they get into and the things that they find out about it.
It says, at midnight on a strange and distant planet, they would remake the universe or destroy it.
Yes.
I'm excited. I'm excited to meet this centaur woman. If you were a centaur, would you let someone ride on you? I don't think I would.
It would depend on what it felt like. I mean, for a horse, you assume the horses don't seem to care that much.
I don't know.
But maybe they do.
Maybe it'll be discussed.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, that's exciting.
Okay.
I've only read a few science fiction books.
It's science fiction and fantasy. I'd say it leans more towards science fiction than fantasy, though.
Okay. Speculative.
And we have all of those. If you get hooked on those and want to read them.
Nice.
Next, we have one of my favorite mystery authors, Nero Wolfe.
Oh, that's the author.
No, the author's Rex Stout.
Oh, okay.
Robert Goldsmith did, after Rex Stout died, Robert Goldsmith did a number of books that carried on. They were a little, say, weak. I think he did like 5 of them. The book that I was going to give you was Fertilance, but as I believe I mentioned to you, the rabbits ate the corner.
We had bunnies, and they love to eat books.
They did.
They love to eat a lot of things, actually. The baseboards.
Books and baseboards and door frames.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure all the words are there, and it might have been a problem to read.
Okay.
And that was Fertilance, and I wanted to give you that because it's a French symbol. You spent some time in France, you speak French.
Yeah.
But this is, Nero Wolfe is a very overweight detective.
Oh my god.
And when I say very overweight, these were written back in the 40s and 50s, I think is when it started, maybe the 60s. Very overweight, they refer to his weight as 1/8 of a ton. So.
Is this him on the back?
Yes, that's him on the back, if you can see that. Although that looks like he weighs more than 1/8 of a ton. 1/8 of a ton being 250 pounds?
Yeah.
I used to weigh very close to that, and while I considered myself overweight, I didn't consider myself to be anywhere near as large a man as he is.
Maybe he's
So
short.
he never leaves the house except to go out to eat, pretty much.
Okay.
So he has an assistant, Archie Goodwin, who goes out and he has an almost photographic memory.
Oh, cool.
He goes out, does the investigation, takes statements, coerces people to come to his brownstone in New York.
American.
But he has to make sure that they come when Nero's not up dealing with his orchids. There are 2 hours a day where where he spends up in the greenhouse on the top of his building tending his 10,000 orchids.
That's too many.
He has help.
Okay.
Theodore Horstman. And he also has a cook, Fritz, whose last name I can't remember. But they're very entertaining as mysteries go.
Do you ever solve them first? Do you ever know who did it?
Yes. Not all of them. but some of them absolutely.
This one's called Triple Jeopardy. I love it. Yeah, I don't read a lot of mysteries. I used to. At one point, Dad and I read all of the Lillian Jackson Braun books, The Cat Who. Even though at the end they were not mysteries anymore. They were just long books about a guy living in a small town.
And directing the money that he gave away,
Yeah.
how it was spent, which would never make a lot of sense to me.
I know, like...
Somebody is still writing those, I believe. Okay, now we have The Leopard by Joe Nesbo. I'm probably mispronouncing that.
Norwegian.
Because he's Norwegian, and there's a slash through the O. You actually gave me this.
I did.
It says maddeningly addictive on the cover.
It was on a table of books that was like, if you liked the Girl with Dragon Tattoo, you might also like So I Got It From My Dad.
I did like it. It takes place, as I recall, in Hong Kong.
Oh, cool.
This is one of the few books that I haven't, read. I did really like it though. So hopefully you will as well.
Okay.
And then this one,
I see a cat.
you see a cat. That's Mrs. Murphy. This is Rita Mae Brown and Sneaky Pie Brown, who is her cat, who helps her write the books.
Aw.
And that's him on the back cover.
It's beautiful.
I believe that's him on the back cover. And this is about a woman who lives in Crozet, Virginia,
Okay.
on a farm. She has 2 cats and a dog. The cats are Mrs. Murphy and Peter, and the dog is Tucker. And she's got horses, and you deal with other animals that hang out there. There's an owl, there's a snake, there's a possum named Simon.
Do they talk?
Only to the other animals.
Okay.
But they're pretty much all murder mysteries.
Alright. Is this the first one?
No, this is not the first one. We don't own the first one.
Okay.
This is one of the, we started reading books from the library, and if we really liked them, if we liked them a tremendous amount, like the Eye of the World books, we ended up buying them.
Yeah.
If we liked them, and there were a lot of other books, we would buy the other books first.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we have a number of these.
9 Lives to Die.
9 Lives to Die. So if you like this, we have a bunch more, and the library's probably got a lot that we don't have.
Awesome.
And I thought you might like one with the cat. The cats and dogs help solve the mysteries, but they can't talk to her. Well, they can talk to her, but she doesn't understand them.
I love cats.
And Mrs. Murphy she's basically a doer. Peter is a big fat butterball who whines about everything. And then Tucker's a corgi.
Aw.
Who acts like a corgi.
Okay.
Okay? So I did also want to make sure that the books that I gave you didn't end up, like I said, being too enormous.
Fair.
For you to get through them all.
Thank you.
And there's a couple of series, and if you like the series, we have all of them.
Are they all series except for the Joe Nesbo?
Only the first 2 are series in the sense that they follow one after the other.
Oh.
The Nero Wolves, they do follow one after the other, and they may reference it, but there's no arc between
episodic.
them. Yes. And the Mrs. Murphy books are linear, and things happen in the lives of the people in the town, but they're also episodic. You don't need to read them in order. But yes, other than the Joe Nesbo, and that actually I think is part of the series.
Oh my god.
But I have not gotten around to the other ones. I think there's at least one more.
If I wrote a book And it was a whole book. Oh, it is a series, or at least like Harry Hula, or whatever his name is. I know that he's in, because it's a hilarious name. I know that he's in The Snowman. So, okay, you're right, this is a series.
And let's see, well, it'll tell us in the front. We'll cheat. And I'll pretend I can read without my glasses on.
I have my contacts in. Yep.
The Snowman, the Devil's Star, Nemesis,
The Red Breast.
the Red Breast.
A space for a new one.
No, I think that space means that it's not necessarily,
Oh, okay.
or no, or maybe that's where the leopard fits in.
Got it.
So yes.
All right. Which one should I read first?
I would start off with a little light reading.
A little light reading.
So I'd go with Midnight at the Well of Souls.
Awesome.
It's light reading. And then it's going to depend. The leopard can get a little dark.
Oh yeah, I might need
So
to mix it up. Or like take breaks from it and read something else.
yeah.
Okay.
And The Eye of the World, which is, as you said, is part of the Wheel of Time. If it was a movie, it would be dark. As a book, I didn't find it to be particularly dark.
Is it like Game of Thrones? Is there going to be a lot of
No.
sexual assault?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
There's not a lot of sexual
Oh,
assault in Game of
okay.
Thrones either.
What? Yes. I feel like that's all I know about it. I saw half of an episode.
Would you like the book? I've
No.
got it over there.
No, because there's sexual assault in it.
I believe, well, there definitely was in the one episode you saw, which would probably be when Daenerys Targaryen was basically sold to the Dothraki
I don't remember.
clan leader.
I don't know what it was. I wasn't watching it by choice. I was in a bar and they put it on.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these. Let me know what you thought. I'm excited. This is all totally out of my wheelhouse of regular books. It'll be nice to end the year on a kind of experiment like this.
Okay.
Thanks to my dad for choosing books for me.
Anytime.
I'm really excited. Bye!
Bye.